So hello everybody, welcome to a new video. Today I'm doing my top 10 Asian movies. Now I've done this before with other continents such as South America, Africa, etc. But this one's going to be a little bit different. Firstly, it's not going to include Indian or Middle Eastern movies, despite them being from Asia. The reason for that is because I've already done separate videos for both of those places. So I thought it would be a bit weird if I included them in this one because, you know, a lot of them will be in the top 10, I imagine. So I just excluded them from this one. Okay, so Middle Eastern movies, Indian movies, they're not in this list. Secondly, this is the first continent I've got to where there's already a lot of movies I like from this place, meaning the top 10 is going to be very difficult. For example, my top 10 could theoretically just be Kurosawa movies, right? If I'm actually doing my favorite 10 from Asia. So because of that, I'm going to be doing one country per number. Okay, so 10 is going to be a country, then 9 is going to be a country. I might shout out a couple movies from that country, but it's more going to be top 10 countries movies. So in 10th is the country Vietnam and the movie Cyclone. It's from 1999. It's a crime thriller and it's just over 2 hours. It's really well done. It's a bit, I don't want to say dark, but it's definitely a bit brutal and a bit, it's not for everyone. It's about a driver, a cyclo driver, funnily enough, he's an orphan. He is delivering some stuff for some people. You know, his vehicle gets stolen. You know, you can imagine where it goes. He gets involved with some crime bosses and stuff. So yeah, very good movie. Deserves to be on the list. Could be higher, honestly. And yeah, very, very good. Definitely deserves a watch if you've not seen it. So ninth is the country Taiwan, and it is the movie Millennium Mambo, which is from 2001. It's a romance drama, and it is 2 hours in length. This one's a very interesting one. It's more about the visuals with this one. The story's great, don't get me wrong. And it's definitely a movie I'm going to rewatch. But the visuals and the, like, how stylistic it is, it's great. It's just really, really good. Like, it really needs to be watched. I can't praise it enough. And yeah, trust me, this one needs to be watched. It's not got a huge plot to it. It's more about just following this woman through part of her life, but it's just really well done. And yeah, visually it's just beautiful. So in 8th is the country Laos, and it is the movie The Long Walk. It's a more recent one, 2019. I think it's about 2 hours again, and it's like a sci-fi horror. I won't give much away, but it's about a man who can see ghosts, and one of the ghosts along this road allows him to be transported 50 years back. There's some past trauma and stuff he explores there. There's some interesting conversations, and it's just a really solid movie. It's one that I probably didn't appreciate enough when I first watched it, because I watched it on just some random afternoon. I do plan to rewatch it again soon though, because it was really good. And yeah, I really do want more people to watch that one. I think it's on Amazon Prime. So yeah, if you've not seen that one, give it a watch. It's very, very good, and that's why it's an 8th. In 7th is the country Singapore. And it's a 2013 movie called Ilo Ilo, I think. Ilo. That's what it's called. It's about a family who hire a foreign nanny, right? Now, things start going bad, not because of the nanny, just coincidentally, you know, with the dad's job and stuff like that. Meanwhile, we see the nanny getting close to the son and kind of getting a bond with him. At first, he's a bit, you know, cautious and doesn't like her, but he starts to like her. And yeah, it's just following them. There's some really sad moments. Nothing crazily sad, but there's some sadder than you'd expect moments. It's really well written. It's well shot. It's acted well, and it's just really solid. I think it's only an hour 40 as well, so it's a little bit shorter. And yeah, worth a watch. And that's why it's in number 7. So number 6 is the Philippines, and it's an older movie from the 80s called Kisapmata. Kisapmata, one word. I think it means... what does it mean? I think it means like in the blink of your eye, in the blink of an eye, something like that. It's from 1981. It's about an hour 40, and it's like a thriller horror kind of vibe. It follows it's very hard to talk about this one without giving much away, but it follows a dad who's very creepy, very disturbing, who does not want his pregnant daughter, who's 2 months pregnant. He does not want her to get married. And he does anything he can to stop that happening. He's very protective, almost too protective. And as you'll see in the movie, it's very dodgy. Let's just say that. But the movie itself is done in such a way, there's just a vibe to it. It does kind of irk you out a little bit. It just feels very genuine. And maybe it's probably helped by having a lower budget. I haven't checked the budget, but I feel like it's a lower budget. And yeah, it was just done really nicely. No complaints from me. The ending is quite brutal. And yeah, it's really worth watching. It's probably quite hard to find. It took me a while to find this one. I had to like rent it from some random website. But it was well done and it was really good and it was worth to watch. And I could have put it much higher. I really liked it actually. So yeah, Kisapmata, check it out. In fifth is the country Pakistan, and it's a 2022 movie called Joyland. Now it tackles some very heavy themes in this movie. It revolves around a married man who becomes a backup dancer for a trans woman. It's a romance. You can probably guess where it might go. There's some other stuff thrown in there. There are a lot of taboo, like stuff with his wife and other people in the family. There's a pregnancy at one point. Yeah, it goes deep into some bits. It probably could be quite heavy for some. But it never like steps over the line and never does anything for the sake of doing it. You know what I mean? It's not shock value. It's actually like a profound, well-written story. So I really recommend it. It really blew me by surprise, and yeah, it deserves to be number 5. It's very, very good. In 4 is the first country that has most movies I want to shout out, and it's China. So there's 2 movies specifically I want to shout out from China. One is called Spring in a Small Town. It's from 1949. And it's about a wife who's married to this guy who's not doing too well, and then some other guy turns up. I think it's like an old family friend or an old childhood friend to one of them, and basically she has to decide whether to stick with the husband or go with this guy who's going to make her a bit more happy. You know, it's like only an hour and a half or something. It was really well done, and yeah, that was top of the list for China for a long time. And then I recently watched one called Postman in the Mountains, which was exactly my kind of movie. It was really, really beautiful, visually nice. It's literally just following this postman who's teaching his son how to do his like routine. You kind of learn about the other people involved as well, like the people he gets the post to. But really, it's just visually lovely. It's slow. It's not boring. No, it's never dull. But it's a very slow and peaceful. And yeah, it needs to be watched. Trust me, it's very, very good. In third, we have Hong Kong, and we have 2 huge movies from there. We have Infernal Affairs, which I think is from 1999. It's a crime thriller, kind of mystery kind of vibe. Basically, here's what it is. If you've seen Departed, and you think, oh, that's a good movie, this is what inspired Departed. This is basically the exact same story, but it's, you know, from Hong Kong, and it's just really good. It's just as good. Don't get me wrong, I love The Departed, but this is like the original. The Departed is a remake of this. So yeah, trust me, if you like The Departed, you'd like this. It's also shorter, and yeah, it's just as good, I think. It's really, really good. So watch that. Secondly, though, for Hong Kong, we have one called In the Mood for Love, which is just as famous. It's huge, it's very popular, and it's just sad. It's hard to say much about that one without spoiling it, but it's basically about a man and a woman who are both married to different people, and both those people are having an affair with each other, and they're not sure whether to have an affair themselves as well, and they kind of do like each other, and there's a special love there, and it's just really nice. You know, it's kind of like the timings don't line up right kind of vibe. You know what I mean? Like they're in love, but the timing's never right kind of thing. But it's really well done. It's made in 2000, but it feels like it was made, you know, in the 70s. It's got that really nice look to it, and it's phenomenal. It's really worth a watch. Trust me. Yeah. Hong Kong, very, very high up on this list. My second and first one could really go either way. It really could go back and forth. I am putting, though, South Korea in my second slot. Now, don't get me wrong. South Korea, I absolutely love South Korea. We got Past Lives. We got Old Boy. We got The Wailing. There's so many movies I could shout out. A big one for me is Train to Busan, which I think is the best horror, by far the best zombie movie I've ever seen. But in number 1 for Korea, I had to put a movie from Bong Joon-ho. I'm sorry for not pronouncing that right, but he is one of my favorite directors of all time, and honestly, his 5 best movies will probably be in the top 5 of Asia for me, besides maybe my first position. But yeah, he's just really good. He makes great movies, and the movie I'm going to shout out for him is Memories of Murder, which I think is one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. And if you've seen Zodiac, it's a very similar vibe to that. It's a true story crime movie. But it has that extra punch, I think. It's got that extra little kick in it. With Zodiac, sometimes I've seen that and it's kind of left me a bit like, oh man, we don't know. Whereas this, the ending just like, it kind of has a different punch to it. It's just like, oh jeez. I could talk for ages about Memories of Murder. It's so good. And yeah, South Korea is comfortably in my number 2, but it could even be number 1. However, you probably guessed it, number 1 is going to be Japan. I really could have gone back and forth with Korea and Japan, because both of them have such a quality. And then I was thinking, I think Japan has so many more movies that I adore. For example, we got the Kurosawas, which could easily be my top 10 or Asian movies, like I said. Specifically, One Wonderful Sunday, which I adore. That's one of my favorites of all time. We got any Ozu movie. I love Ozu as well. Late Spring, for example, about a daughter who doesn't want to get married, and the dad's trying to make her get married because, you know, otherwise she's not going to have a good life. So that's a beautiful movie. We got Onibaba, which is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Again, I could go on forever about Onibaba. It's stylistic, it's creepy, like it's an amazing movie. If you've not seen Onibaba, please check it out. We've also got a movie called Afterlife from 1999, which is where people are in purgatory and they like remake their favorite memory from their life to like live with forever. And it's just beautiful, and there's people talking. Yeah, I could go on forever about these movies. But my top spot is one I've seen recently. And I could have put any movie I've just said for my number 1 in Japan. But this one, it's just a bit different. I didn't want to go for an obvious one. Don't get me wrong, it's still highly rated. It's not like a hidden gem at all. But I'm so excited to watch this one. And I've recently watched it. It left a little mark. It left me like, oh, that was kind of good. And it was called Woman in the Dunes. It's about a guy who's visiting this place. He kind of gets stuck in this this little hut. I can't say much. No, I can't say much. But it's basically all in these dunes. And there's another woman there staying with him, and he can't escape. And it blew me away. I think it's like 2 hours 30, that movie. And I can promise you that movie, if you told me that movie was an hour and a half, I would have believed it. It flew by. And it looks beautiful, as do all of these movies. But, you know, that was definitely my number 1. But the top 10 list is very close, you know, especially with any of the Korean and Japanese movies. They could have been in any order, really. But yeah, that was my top 10 Asian movies / countries. I hope you've got a couple little movies you might check out. Now, trust me, they're all worth a watch. I promise you. And yeah, let me know if there's anything I missed. Like I said, India, if that was in business, that would probably be up there, maybe even number 1 or 2. Same with a couple of the Middle Eastern movies. So yeah, maybe I'll have to do a full Asian movie at one point, because that could be a very interesting video. Anyway, thank you for watching. I've been James. I'll see you next time. Bye.